Bernie?
Barbara, I'm busy.
Doing what?
Reading my press cuttings.
Again? I've been filling out the form for the census.
Oh? Well, I'm here, dear.
Yes, but there seems to be a technical hitch. It says, the persons to be included in this schedule are all those who are alive at midnight on the night of Sunday, the 8th of April, 1951.
So?
Well, you got the cutting there, so I'll quote from memory. As for the remaining member of the television team, Bernard Braden is a dead loss. Does that count?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Bedtime with Braden.
The most beautiful girl in the world eats my candy, drinks my brandy, fine and dandy. The most beautiful girl in the world.
The most difficult man in the world helps the missus with the dishes, saves us kisses.
For the one he has promised to love and adore. Here's to each and every most beautiful girl in the world.
Hello, this is Bernard Braden. And if the census taker is listening, I'm a young man, live, of Canadian extraction, now living in England, and my category in the form is MF. That's a married man with furniture. The staying at home and minding her own children is my wife, the lovely and talented Mrs. Bernard Braden, also known as the Doris Day of Shepperton. Also present is Mr. Ronald Fletcher, a maiden gentleman of some years and fixed employment. I think I know the guy who fixed it for him. Least, but still last, is Mr. Nat Temple, single clarinet of Dolphin Square, where he has a bed-sitting room, kitchen, and bassoon. The other public bodies on display are the members of Mr. Temple's gallant little band.
Hello, Mr. Braden. I just dropped in to say goodbye.
Well, it's Benny Lee. You're always dropping in something or other, aren't you? Well, what's with you, Benny, or are you alone in that suit?
Please, Mr. Braden, I'm on my dignity. I have definitely been slighted.
Really? Who slit you?
The BBC, Mr. Braden.
BBC?
Yes. Mr. Braden, I've always looked on you as a fair man, except at the parting, of course.
Yes.
And I consider you competent to listen to my grievance. Shall I tell you about it?
You mean I have a choice?
Thank you. Now, here's my complaint. Pearl Carr has her own radio series.
She does indeed.
Nat Temple has his own series.
Yes.
But me, Benny Lee, have I got a series? Oh, no. Just a forgotten man. I tell you, Mr. Braden, I'm taking this up with one of the Board of Governors of the BBC.
You mean Air Marshal Lord Ted Greenblatt?
Who else but?
Yes.
I have a proposal here for my own series. The Benny Lee Show, starring Benny Lee, to be broadcast on Saturday.
What time Saturday?
All Saturday.
All Saturday.
You got to aim big, Mr. Braden. But, after negotiation, I don't mind giving way, compromising a little. At a pinch, I'd take 6:30 to 11. I'm no hog.
You're no hog. Well, let's not get sidetracked. But, Benny, you think that you all by yourself on your own can hold a whole evening?
Well, you had a whole evening on television for your program.
Well, excuse me, Benny, I had 30 minutes.
Really? Funny how slowly the time goes when you're not enjoying yourself.
True shame. Yes.
Anyway, I've got my program all set. I doped it out myself.
You doped it out? Well, you have all the qualifications for that. Let's have a few details. Say the first 3 hours or so. The opening announcement.
All right?
Yeah.
Well, I sing the opening theme myself,
I figured that, yes.
Something like this. See? And then I say, hello, listeners, hello. Welcome to the Benny Lee Show. Here's the greatest singer on the air, the finest raconteur with the voice beyond compare. A genius and a wonder, so they all say. So lift up your ears, for here's Ted Ray.
Why Ted Ray?
Oh, I'll have to ask him. You see, he very kindly wrote the lyric for me.
Oh, I see, yeah.
And then the announcer introduces me, you see, and I come on and I say, thank you, Sir Lawrence Olivier. That gets my first laugh.
Why?
Well, it's only Sir Ralph Richardson, really.
Oh, yes.
And after that, well, it's all over bar the shouting.
Yes, we mustn't forget your song. So that's the setup, eh, Benny? I must say it sounds highly non-listenable.
I knew you'd be my ally, Mr. Braden.
Yes, I am.
With this series, I'll be stepping right onto the bandwagon.
Well, into the cart, anyway.
All an artist wants is one good radio series, and he's made. Look at Ernie Shortstick.
Ernie Shortstick?
Yes, he was unknown till he got a radio series, and you know who Ernie Shortstick is today.
Well, don't keep me in suspense.
Ernest Longstaff.
Oh, I should have known, and whoever thought Harry Front Room would grow up to be Henry Hall. Benny, you better get in training right away. Give us a snatch of song, just an hour and a half or so.
Don't do something to someone else that you wouldn't want done to you. Don't start lying or alibiing, fooling me like you do. Now if you play with fire, you're gonna get burned. Someday you'll be sorry when the tables are turned. So don't do something to someone else that you wouldn't want done to you. Amen. Time for confessing. Amen. You've been a messin'. Amen. Here is a lesson. If happy you'd be, listen to me. Don't do something for someone else that you wouldn't want done to you. Don't start cheating or indiscreeting, that's the wrong point of view. Now if you start in flirting and wander away, remember when the cat's gone, the mouse he will play. So don't do something to someone else that you wouldn't want done to you.
That was Don't Do Something to Someone Else That You Wouldn't Want Done to You with the full-mouth version, our own Benny Lee. Mr. Lee has just been suggested for the place of honor at the new South Bank Concert Hall the next time Nat Temple conducts the pistol shots. Turning now to
Hello,
our
Mr.
house...
Braden.
Well, if it isn't the BBC's augmented Pearl Carr.
How do you mean, Mr. Braden? There's only me here in this dress.
And fully occupied, too, I'd say, judging from the distracted gaze of Mr. Temple's band. No, Pearl, I was referring to that new radio show of yours. You know, the one that's been limping along without any assistance from me whatsoever?
Oh, yes, Mr. Braden. And it's been running for 3 consecutive weeks now.
Yes, and even 2, oddly enough. Pearl girl, don't you realize that that microphone is plugged in and that people are hearing things?
Gosh, don't you like the show, Mr. Braden?
Parts of it, Pearl, parts of it. I thought you had a really snappy opening there. I especially like the part where the fellow said the next broadcast will follow in just over 4 minutes. That dead air certainly got things off with a bang.
Oh, that wasn't dead air, Mr. Braden. That's our announcer, Mr. Fletcher.
You mean Ronald Fletcher of the Midnight Close-Down Fletchers?
I don't know, but it's the same one who doesn't speak to me on this show either.
I don't know. I don't know what Fletcher's got to be so snooty about. I saw him having lunch in the canteen the other day. He still hadn't taken off his bicycle clips.
Oh, he doesn't speak to anybody on the program, Mr. Braden. He just goes around the studio, jotting notes and laughing loudly to himself.
Not on my time, he don't. Oh, Mr. Fletcher.
Yes, Braden. Yes.
Wipe off your chin and come over here, will you? What's this new show I've been hearing you on?
Oh, that little thing. Pay no attention to it, Braden. It's just to tease the public until I assume command of this show.
Oh, hip, hip. And until that time, you're resident tragedian on this other deal, huh?
Well, actually, you know, there isn't too much scope.
Oh.
No, BBC policy insists I remain impersonal and not reveal the warm, bubbling, vibrant Fletcher underneath.
All right, we'll talk about your indigestion later. But,
as a matter of fact, I did rather gag it a bit last time we did this other radio show.
Uh-huh. Funny hats?
Oh, no, I did my cutting up within the bounds of official policy.
Oh, sure. Still, I nearly split a seam when you said that line about this is the BBC home service.
Yes, you like that.
Yes, I did. Yes.
I myself was rather amused by the way I said, that was the Tennessee Waltz.
Oh, yes,
You
yes.
remember that? And if you tend to see faults in the way it was played, then don't blame me.
Yes, I guess it loses in translation. Say, isn't there some incidental music on the show?
Oh, yes, there are a few links between monologues. Recorded, I believe.
Oh, recorded,
Yeah,
yes.
your songstress, Miss Carr, she could probably tell you more about that. She was in the studio audience at my last
Oh, the
show.
studio audience.
Yes. You must excuse me, Braden. If I don't write it down, I shall forget it.
Yes, do it with an eraser, will you?
You see what I mean, Mr. Braden?
I hope for his sake he can't read his own writing. Looks like you're in for a tough time, Pearl. By the way, how's the music on your show? What kind of arrangements do the band have?
Well, it's hard to say, Mr. Braden, but it seems to be some kind of arrangement they have between themselves.
Oh, yeah. Last one in's a rotten egg, huh? Maybe I could sell you some arrangements cheap. I know somebody who's just on the fringe of the music business. Oh, Mr. Temple.
Yes, Mr. Braden.
What do you do with your old arrangements? You know, the ones that aren't any good anymore.
Well, we generally play them on this show.
Just as I thought. Here, Pearl, try one on for size.
High on the sky, there's a vagabond moon. Violins playing our favorite tune. Who cares? Who cares? You're not in my arms tonight. Stars turning cartwheels like children at play. Most other times I'd be carried away. Not now, not now. beach. Leaves playing tag with a runaway breeze. Magic like this leaves you weak in the knees. Too bad, too bad, you're not in my arms tonight.
That was the ephemeral pastiche, You're Not in My Arms Tonight, complained by Miss Pearl Carr and given every possible support by Mr. Nat Temple and his invincible men. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we present now one of the most heartwarming stories ever adapted for the screen on your loudspeaker. Despised by his wife, feared by his pupils, a man without friends. This was the lonely schoolmaster whose story, brilliantly told on the screen, now gets completely fouled up in the Braden version.
You may have heard of our school, one of the finest centres of education in the North, old St. Inget's and the Foundry. We of the staff were proud of everything in it, except, well, we all knew that the most unpopular person in the school was the Latin master, Mr. Tuckhamper. Old breadbasket, the boys used to call him. And even I, the handsome young science master, Wesley Stinks, had to laugh at him. How could he fail to see the intrigue that was rampant between myself and his bitterly pretty young wife, Gloria?
No, you're back, my dear.
Talk, just as soon as I get in the door. Don't you ever shut up.
Well,
I suppose you want to know what I've been, don't you? Well, I stopped in to gab at the lab with young Stinks, the handsome science master whom he has got all the girls for miles around in a whirl about him.
Yes, well...
Well, what? I don't know why you have to get so head up about every little thing I do. Oh, my head is splitting. I must have a migraine again.
Yes, dear, I'll fetch one for you. Dear me, Gloria's gone. Probably the bus ride back made her feel ill. Oh, yes, sick transit Gloria, and the doorbell will ring.
It is I, sir, your pupil, young Pabulum.
Come in, Pabulum, come in. Time for our lesson.
Our last lesson, I'm afraid, Mr. Tuckhamper, sir. The headmaster's just declared you out of bounds.
And so this is my reward for 15 years of continuous service at St. Inget's?
16 years, I believe, sir. You came here the year after I did.
So I did, yes.
Yes, I remember. I remember because it was my 4th year in the upper 5th. Or was it my 5th year in the lower 4th?
Oh, Pabulum, only you have stood by me all these years. I have been grateful for your faith, your loyalty, and your never-ending stupidity. Only you, Pabulum.
Well, sir, we can't all be pluperfect, sir. I just made a funny joke, sir.
I know, Pabulum, I know, but you mustn't tell anyone. I think it's the first time I've really wanted to cry. Now, what about those Latin verses, eh, Pabulum? Have you translated all of Ovid's Livid? I mean, if it's love is... Never mind, just read me the sexy bit.
I'm afraid I haven't done my Latin, sir.
Then we will continue when you have it done, Pabulum. Ad nauseam carborundum.
Sir?
I merely said keep your nose to the grindstone.
Oh, Tuckhamper, you're here.
Yes, young Stinks. I'm afraid you can't see my wife just yet. She's upstairs curling her lips.
It's you I want to see, sir. I've just seen the headmaster in his office, and I'm afraid that heads will roll.
Too bad. How much money did he take off you?
Just a moment. There's someone listening at your door, sir. It's a girl.
Well, come in, young lady. Or as we say in Latin, intravenous.
Young Hornicroft reporting, sir. I've just been appointed to staff here.
Oh, jolly, Dee. The new mistress.
My wife will be wild when she finds out. Well, let us introduce ourselves. I am Arnold Tuckhamper, Winchester 73.
Wesley Stinks, Colt 45.
Isabel Hornicroft, bust 37. Here are my credentials.
Oh, yes, and I see you have 2 degrees, SAM and BA.
No, that's what I teach, the samba. They're changing the curriculum here from Latin to Latin American.
I see. Well, if it's good enough for the Navy and the Oxford crew, I suppose... Come, Hornicroft, I must show you around the ground.
Has he gone, Stinks?
Well, sort of.
Oh, Wesley, my little Bunsen burner.
Now, Gloria, please.
We cannot go on like this. It's bigger than both of us.
Oh, really? Gloria, you mustn't say things like that with this student in the same room.
Why not? He's older than both of us. Come closer to me.
Wait, I'm not sure I locked my bicycle.
Never mind the bicycle. Lock me in your arms.
Oh!
Good evening, my dear.
Oh, for heaven's sake, and just when I was beginning to enjoy himself.
All alone again?
I'm here, sir.
Exactly.
Sir, I realize full well that this is, well, it's one perfect pure of a time for a presentation, but...
But what problem?
Well, sir, I know a lot of the chaps have spread some rum reports about you, like you've always using ut with the subjunctive, but, well, gosh, sir, I know how you've always been fond of first editions of La Vie Parisienne.
And even seconds or thirds.
Yes, well, sir, I've translated one of them into Latin so that you might enjoy the jokes as well, sir.
Oh, good.
And I figured it out if we could put out a limited edition.
Class dismissed, but don't go away because bad boy Benny Lee has to stay in after school and yell out 32 bars for us. Punishment, begin.
If you ever see the one-man samba band, I know you'll agree. His music's simply grand, with drums all around and the maracas in his hand. He beats out such a rhythm, a super Latin band. Ole, ole, see the people sway. Ole, ole, there's romance everywhere. Children adore the one-man samba band. They all cry for more as roundabout they stand. No wonder they say he's the finest in the land. So come along and meet him, the one-man samba band. The one-man samba band. As roundabout they stand, no wonder they say he's the finest in the land. So come along and meet him, the one-man samba band.
We are now waiting for the photo to see who won that flat race between Benny Lee and Nat Temple. Here comes the photo now. Ooh, we must find some other way of deciding these things. And so do our beauty hints department.
Oh, Braden.
Yes, Mr. Fletcher.
With this outbreak of burglaries of the homes of stars, I suppose you and your wife, the incomparable Barbara Kelly, who seems to become lovelier every day, who is the perfection of womanhood. What was I saying?
Nothing.
Oh, yes. Now, surely these burglaries must make you a bit uneasy.
Not at all. Everything in our house is insured. Barbara and I can sleep easily no matter what.
Barbara, wake up.
Oh, what is it?
Wake up. I think I hear somebody moving around downstairs.
Look, Tyrone. This is the third night in a row you've heard somebody moving around downstairs. And so far, all we've lost is my sleep.
He's probably still looking for your mink coat.
Well, that's nothing. So am I. Now, for Pete's sake.
Listen.
Oh, fine.
Did you hear anything?
No, and neither do you.
I did. Sounded as though he was feeling the material in the coats in the hall.
Bernie, if you think there's somebody downstairs, why don't you go down and find out?
Go downstairs?
Sure. Join with him. Grab him, tie him up, and stuff a handkerchief in his mouth. Imagine the news headline, Comedian Gags Robber. Or is that news?
Barbara, how can you joke at a time like this when danger menaces our own flesh and blood? To say nothing of the kids.
Because if anybody were trying to get into the house, Jason would bark.
Not necessarily. I have an idea Jason can be fixed.
What?
Well, lately he's been running around with that dog down the street, used to live in New York. I suspect he'd let the whole house be ransacked if the bone was right.
Doesn't sound like a bad deal to me, either.
Barbara.
Anyhow, burglars are only interested in furs and jewelry. And you've certainly been careful not to put temptation in their way.
We've got gold and silver. Shh. Listen. What is it?
Bernard Braden. Have you got that silver golf trophy in the bed again?
No. Sorry, dear. Did it roll over to your side?
Keep that player out of the rough, chum, understand? And if everything in the house is insured, why have we got that serving tray under your pillow?
It's just the sentimental value, that's all.
And the money belt under your pajamas?
Can I help it if I get sentimental easy?
Bernie, what was that?
What was what?
Well, that noise. Bernie, perhaps there is somebody in the house. Go and look, dear, please.
Don't be silly, Barbara. There's nobody in the... There's nobody in the... Will you let me finish a sentence?
I'm going to see what that is.
Wait, Barbara. I'll go with you. So, you see, Mr. Fletcher, we feel quite secure at our house. We had a bit of a commotion the other night when Jason tried to raid the icebox without putting the light on, but nothing more.
Yes, well, nevertheless, Miss Kelly must be glad to have a man in the house.
Well, yes, she is.
Well, if I can provide one, you have my number.
That's right, Buster. I've got your number. Sing, Pearl.
Pop, bubble, 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 bubble with the pink champagne. Everything was safe and sane till the waiter pulled the cork at the stalk and pop, bubble, 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 bubble went the pink champagne. He began to pour, I began to soar more and more and more. Oh, that pink, pink feeling as I went reeling toward remorse. Did I really fly through the ceiling? And did I ride home on my midnight's pink horse? Pop, bubble, 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 bubble goes my aching brain. I am down to earth again. Elephants are at the sink, all so pink. Pop, bubble, 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 take a double Bromo seltzer plain. Think I'm gonna die, why, oh, why, oh, why did I ever try pink champagne?
Thank you, Pearl Carr. And speaking of champagne, for the benefit of those who dine out in restaurants where they have a 5-shilling minimum, I want to tell you how to cook a minimum so that it only costs 3 shillings.
Braden.
You state your business, will you, Fletcher?
I merely wanted to point out that it's time for you to get on with the life story of lovely Barbara Kelly.
Yes. Well, friends, if you remember last week, a poor American farmer had asked her to assist in his farm and be his mate. She had never thought of being a pharmacist's mate, and her diary shows the dilemma she was in.
I must give Judd his answer soon. Even now, when he looks at me, you could read a paper by the gleam in his eye. But soft, he's approaching. I can feel his hot breath on my neck.
Hey, Barbara, I'm down at the other end of the hall.
Barbara, I'll come for my answer. I want for us to be man and wife. Reading from left to right, I'll be man, you'll be wife.
You've got it all worked out, haven't you, Judd?
I knew it was you for me the first minute I seen you. Now you've been here a while, I realize I love you, honey. Not only your honey, but your jam and your cakes and all the other little things you're throwing at me. Say you'll marry me, Barbara.
Oh, Judd, it can never be. Don't you see? We're different sorts of people.
Well, obviously, Barbara, I wouldn't want to marry a male. If I had wanted that, I could have gone to one of them mail order places.
Don't you see? The things I hanker after are different from the things you hanker after. Poles apart.
Well, apart from poles, what do you hanker after?
Luxuries, refinements, all the beautiful things. I want to sleep between satin sheets.
You will, Barbara, I promise. I'll get you satin sheets. If we pinch and scrape later on, we may be able to afford a bed as well.
Judd, I don't want to hurt you. Let me break it to you as gently as a woman can.
What are you trying to tell me, Barbara?
Why don't you drop dead?
So that's it, huh? Well, if I can't have you, nobody else will.
I could see it was him or me. Carefully working out all the relevant considerations, I decided it better be him. With an animal grunt, he reached forward, ripped the thin silk from the top of my umbrella, and I felt his burning lips on my bare forehead.
So, you little vixen. Oh, you would, huh? Eh?
No, I wouldn't. That's what we're struggling about.
Come here.
As he rushed for me, his foot caught in the hole of a tram ticket, and he fell at my feet. I could tell at a glance he was dead, perhaps even unconscious. Trembling, I wiped the fingerprints off my fingers. My mind was a turmoil. Memories ran through my mind of my youth, of the golden days of summer, of a film called Swing Time. To give you an idea of the agony that meant, we will now have a selection from this film sung by Bernard Braden, Benny Lee, and Pearl Carr.
A fine romance with no kisses. A fine romance, my friend. This is, we should be like a couple of hot tomatoes. But you're as cold as yesterday's mashed potatoes. A fine romance you won't nestle. A fine romance you won't wrestle. I might as well play bridge with my old maid Aunt. I haven't got a chance. This is a fine romance.
Oh, Bojangles of Harlem, you dance such hot stuff.
Young folks love me in Harlem. They say I've got stuff. Tough guys from the out of pool rooms, and kids start trucking out of schoolrooms.
Bojangles of Harlem, the whole town's at your heels.
Leaving their flats, missing their meals, running like rats, going astray. Throw those long legs away.
And so now the Bedtime with Braden is held in contempt. Those pulling their hats well down over their eyes include Barbara Kelly, Pearl Carr, Benny Lee, and Nat Temple and his harmonious seven. My name is Ronald Fletcher, and here's the kingpin and head man of the program, Bernard Pinhead Braden.
So the lights go out and the people leave the studio one by one, and it's goodbye, Benny, bye, Pearl, bye, fellas in the orchestra. Like the captain of a ship, I'm always the last to leave. And this last glance around the empty studio, now somehow so forlorn, always means a lot to me because... Hey, there's one on the floor there. No, darn it, it's a cork tip.
Bernard Braden may soon be seen at the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane, for the present production of Carousel. Look for him Thursday week in the Upper Circle.